Hello there! Welcome to lesson 4 in the circle of fifths. Now, if you have paid attention to what I said previously, we would have been halfway through the book by now, and we aren't done with chapter 1. So forgive my under anticipation. I think that's a word. In how far along we would be. So that's all right. Where we left off last week, or last lesson, was the major chord shapes on the 6th and 5th string. Remember, we had the A major shape and the E major shape with the bar behind them. So it was simply the E major shape moved up the neck, replacing, here would be the nut, playing our E major. As we move up, we have to replace the nut with our finger, and we can play the major chord shapes on the 6th string. Same with the major shapes on the 5th string. Remember, we talked about A major. It moved up, and our root has to follow. That's our index finger, replacing the nut, right? Since the nut can't move with us, we have to play the nut, or do its job, with our index finger. And these major shapes can move up as well. We looked at banana pancakes, just as an example, and Smells Like Teen Spirit. And we can get into strum patterns on those later. Just wanted to show you how applicable they are. So for today, we're going to jump into the minor shapes, and I'm going to leave it at the minor shapes, and then we're going to review. And I need you to be able to answer some of the questions at the end of this book before we move on. I'm going to actually have you answer those to me through the messenger here in, well, I guess you're on YouTube right now, but back in Teacher Zone, I want you to send me a message to the questions at the end of this book. So you really do need to be able to understand the things that the author of this book says you should now know these, and you should be able to answer these questions, or we really can't move forward. Now, he is digressing a little bit from the main point of the circle of fifths by going into these chord shapes, but much like me, he has a desire for you to play music on your guitar and not just learn theory constantly, because learning theory is good, having that knowledge is good, but when we can't apply it to anything, guitar or any instrument can become cumbersome to learn, or dull, or boring, and we don't obviously want that. We want to know what we're learning is applicable to real life stuff, okay? So I'm going to show you the next page in this book, which I can pull up here, I think, is we just did these major shapes. If you don't remember those, go back to last week's video, or lesson 3. We're going to move right to the minor shapes. This is the same principle. The root is on the 5th string, and the root is on the 6th string. You can see that by the square on these chord shapes. And remember, we looked at last week, when you're reading these, it's like your guitar is away from you, and you're reading the chord charts like that, okay? So, minor shapes. It's the same concept, A minor and E minor this time, instead of A major and E major, and then those shapes move up. I got a piece of hair on my hat that's driving me nuts. Okay, now, that has nothing to do with these shapes. It's a minor issue. Ha! Oh. Just leave that one where it was. Okay. A minor. If you're unsure what A minor is, I'm going to show you real briefly here, if I can get over to my screen. The A minor shape, I'm going to show you on my left hand, looks like the E major shape. It's just down a string. All fingers go down a string. So the E major shape was here. The A minor shape moves straight down. Okay? Now, we're going to take that A minor shape and we're going to replace our fingers. So the first thing to do is build your E major shape. If you don't know A minor, move your E major shape down. And much like we did with the E major shape, I'm going to replace my fingers over. So now I'm playing A minor still, but I got my index finger back. Okay? And we're going to move that minor shape up. So here, if I have A minor, where my root is on the 5th string, got the minor. We'll talk about what makes a chord minor at some point. Okay, now if I move that up, I no longer have A minor, I have A sharp minor, which would be more commonly referred to as D flat minor. If I move up again, I've got B minor. Remember our roots on our 5th string for these shapes. A minor, B flat minor, B minor, C minor, C sharp minor. B minor and C sharp minor are chords we use a lot. They are chords in the key of E, which is common, and they're part of the 1, 4, 5, 6 minor. Well, the C sharp minor is part of the 1, 4, 5, 6 minor in E, and the B minor is the 6th minor in the key of D, and D is a very common key as well. So we end up playing B minor and C sharp minor quite a bit, so they're very good chords to know. So these minor shapes work up the neck. There's not a lot else to tell you other than build your A minor shape and go up the neck. You should be able to, within a matter of really within 2 seconds, okay, maybe 1 second, I should be able to say D minor in this shape, and you should be able to find D minor. It's up where the D is the root on the 5th string, right here, and then the minor shape below it. You should be able to find E minor, B minor, C sharp minor, and on, all the way up to, you can go to 12, however far your guitar can reach, right? Same concept and let me show you that shape again so we're not missing out. That's this shape here. Okay, this looks like the E major shape, down a string. This is the A major shape. It would be a very good idea to get used to seeing shapes on chord charts like this and being able to tell what they are right away. This is A minor. Okay. If we look over at the 6th string roots, you'll notice you're only out here with 2 fingers now. Well, if we pretended that this backside here was the nut, and there were 2 strings being played out in front of it on the 2nd fret, we would have E minor, right? It's the same shape as E minor. It's a very simple shape. Okay? E minor we play most commonly like this, so that we have our index back here to play E major. But we can also play E minor like this. Probably wouldn't in a regular song. E minor is the 6th minor of the key of G, so we play E minor a lot, because G is very common, if not the most common. And we wouldn't play E minor like that if we were playing in that key. But for reference, when we are going to do these 6th string minor shapes, we play the E minor with our pinky and our ring finger. Okay? Sorry about the glare on my fingers. Okay. That shape moves up as well. So where we have E minor, because E is the root on the 6th string, the top string, the low string, E minor, we now can move up and we have F minor, F sharp, minor. You'll notice my middle finger flops down onto my index. It just helps me push. It's not because I don't have the strength to, I just want to conserve energy. If you're going to play songs with a lot of bar chords in them, you need to learn how to use your other fingers to help you use some strength from them to help you play the chords so your hand doesn't become fatigued, because it's very easy to do with bar chords, especially on your grip. Okay? F sharp minor, whoop. G minor, G sharp minor. Probably the most common of these down here, we play F sharp minor a lot. Okay? Obviously, there are some other combos of chords we play a lot. This would be the 5th fret, A, and the minor shape. Okay? So the concept is the same. It's just the E minor shape that moves up. So we should be able to, again, within a matter of a couple of seconds, I should be able to say play A minor. I know we just did that, but I should be able to bounce to A minor. Same as this chord. Sometimes we just want this A minor shape because of certain hammer-ons or things up here, or the tonality is a little different. Okay? Or the other chords might exist up here. So really, what you should be able to do, and I need you to be able to do to move forward, is really just understanding these root names and understanding that the 5th, way back to lessons 1 and 2, is still here. So I can play F minor, and I can play C major, or C minor, and know that the 5ths are how I found those notes. D minor, straight up from the D, the 5th is above it, which is A, minor, major. So you're learning how to navigate your fretboard by just knowing the 5ths and then these major minor chord shapes, okay? That digresses a little from the fifths, as the guy in the book even states. If you're reading along in the book, you'll see that he says, I'm not really sure what this has to do with the circle of fifths, other than I want you to be able to use it, okay? I'm going to bounce over to my other screen again. They walk through in the book, if you're going through this online, or I know some of you have ordered the book. It goes into the dominant seventh shapes, which I don't want to do right now. We will circle back and go into what that means later. I believe that just introduces some confusion here, because we haven't talked about sevenths. Okay, so we're gonna skip over the dominant sevenths. It's called dominant chord shapes, fifth and sixth string. You can skip past that. Here are the minor chord shapes, and then a dominant chord shape. They want you to go back and forth between the major seventh on the sixth string, not the major, the dominant seventh on the sixth string, and the minor on the fifth. We can skip that too. This walks through it's just an exercise that gets you to go in your fifths to exercise your fifth patterns. If you can read tab, you can go through that. This, as you can see, he explains, is used quite a bit in all kinds of music. Classical is what he mentions, but kind of a walk down. It's almost suspenseful, right? We're just staying in the fifths, but we're just going backwards here. I also want to skip past that, because what the point of today's lesson is, other than those fifth string minor and sixth string minor shapes, which you do need to know, I want you to look at this for today. I want you to go through each bullet point and make sure that you do actually understand what this is saying. The smallest distance in music are semitones and tones. Do you know what that means? Semitones and tones are the building blocks of all the scales, which we're going to get into in chapter 2 next week. The name for the distance between notes is called an interval. So I'm not going to read all of these to you, but you should be able to read those and go, yeah, I think I got that. And if you don't, circle one of those and go back through the pages in this book or back through the video and make sure that you watch that again so that you understand it. There's a lot there. There really is a ton here. And for those of you who have been accomplished guitar players, some of my students that are watching this, you're really good at the guitar. So some of this is felt remedial, but it's very good for you, especially if you don't understand some of these bullet points. And then pop quiz. It's not really a pop quiz if you're prepared for it, right? But pop quiz. These are just a few questions. This isn't all inclusive to what we've gone through so far. But you should be able to very quickly write down the answers to those questions. What note is above is a fifth above C? And you should be able to answer that right now without going C, D, E, F, G. And then when you answer that question, find a C and find a fifth, okay? Those are the last 3 points in this pop quiz. And this will be your exercise for today. So I want you, if you want to record yourself playing, that's fine. Finding 3 different positions for these fifths. So when it says on the 4th question down, find 3, it's not really a question, it's more of a statement. Find 3 ways to play a fifth above the note A. Right? So I'm going to do that for you. I'm going to demonstrate this one. And I want you to either send me a video or just send me a thumbs up or something that says, hey, I got those last questions. So it would look like this. So I'm going to find an A. The first A that I find is here. Now, I'm going to play a fifth above the A. So I know there's one here. Right on. Let's see, where the heck else? Then the fifth I know is E, so I know another A is here, open fifth string, and I know there's a fifth right there. The other thing I know is that this is an A, because I did my octave. My fifth is 1 string down, and my octave is the next one. So I've got an A here, and I know that the fifth above, I know you can go straight up to the fifth also, is above it right there with the same shape. So we got A, fifth, open A, and the fifth, and I've got that fifth. I've got 3 fifths where I've just found A and E. And so practicing those, of course, is how you solidify them in your brain. A, E, A, E, A, E. Where are my A's and my E's? And if you practice those, it's almost a rote memorization thing. You just got to know where they are. You'll eventually start to remember, oh, this is an E. and it will become useful when we do go into dominant 7th, 6th chords, which aren't common, diminished chords, major 7th chords, sus4 chords, A2 we see a lot, 2 chords. We need to be able to know where some of these notes are without really having to process it. Because right now, if I said on the 4th string, which would be the D, find A. And if you have to go D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A to find it, then this didn't work, okay? You need to be able to go, okay, I know A is here, I know the 5th is here, I know the octave is below it, there's my A. I need you to be able to find it like that without counting up from the top, or from the bottom, whichever way you want to look at it. Okay. I also know the 5th of A, the 5th of D is A, because if you think of the word dad, the 5th of A, 5th of D is A. And way back, I think in lesson 1, fret 7 is the 5th. So I'm on fret 7 right now on the 4th string up, I know that's an A. So being able to find those notes in those ways. So there's 3 of those at the end. Find 3 ways to play 5th above A, a 5th above E, and a 5th above D. Any 5ths would be good, but above would be the key. That'll get you to your 3rd string, down to the G string where you're finding the 5ths there instead of straight up. Okay. So review these questions. You should now understand on the last page of chapter 1, and those, whatever there are, 4, 7 questions, 7 things for you to do in that pop quiz. If you're unable to do that, go back and watch or shoot me questions, okay? And good luck. Let me know how it goes.